What is going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video. Now, I did an Instagram story poll a little while ago, and you guys highly requested for this video. Is probably the only poll that I've had with 100% yes results, and you guys wanted to see how you need to write an email to a professor, whether you're trying to reach out for a research position or an undergrad or a master's, or just try to get into the type of research that they're doing. So in this video, we're going to go over everything. I'm going to give you guys a template and tell you some do's and don'ts that you should keep in mind while you do this. So let's get started. So let's clear the air before we get started as to why is it even important to write an email to a professor. Now, you need to understand that this is a two-way street. While you as a student are looking for research opportunities to get into labs and, get some experience, professors are always on the lookout for excellent students that can come into their lab and contribute in a significant way to the research that their lab has been doing for probably years and decades now in a specific time frame. So that means that you need to outcompete yourself from the hundreds of other students that are also bombarding the same professor with a bunch of emails to show that you're different, you're unique, and you deserve to be in that lab. This brings us to the first process, which is basically shortlisting a couple of professors and kind of like gathering a rough template for each and every one. Now, I want to point out that you should definitely not be using one particular common template for all the professors, because there's a good chance that you'll be writing a bulk of these emails, and if professors talk, they can also kind of overlap, and that doesn't look good at all. So the first thing that you need to do is shortlist professors based on what what research you're interested in. And essentially what you need to do is try to see how, or anything that's in common between something that you've done in the past in terms of research and how you want to further that by participating in that professor's lab. This shows that professor that you have some groundwork and grunt work with fundamental understandings of conceptual knowledge of what goes on in their lab, and you're willing to contribute to their lab, not just coming to kind of like gain experience and, just it shouldn't sound selfish is where I'm getting at with all this. Now let's talk about the blueprint of your email. So the first thing that the professor sees when an email pops up is the subject line. The huge no that you're not supposed to do is never mention your name in the subject line, because right on the left side of the subject line is your name. So if you're using that subject line to repeat your name, you're just like saying that twice, wasting space. It doesn't really add any information, and it doesn't benefit you in any way. So something that's good and informative in a subject line is application for a prospective research position, prospective student looking for a research position, or something along those lines. Basically, it shows that you are asking for a position which is research-based, and you are a prospective student, not a current student. So that's how you need to differentiate yourself. So another approach that you can take with the subject line is adding bullet-like points so that it kind of like tells your whole story, kind of like enticing the professor to open the email. So a good example of this is something along the lines of resume, intern, 1 year, electrochemical nanosensors. It shows your prospective student, it shows what research you're interested in, and the time duration for which you're hoping to get that position. These are kind of like the two approaches that you can take. So whatever fits your needs the best, just definitely go with that one. Next up is the actual email. Now, while I recommend that you attach your resume with the email to give the professor some, background into your professional experience and education, you also need to have some content in the email. You cannot just write an email which says, please see your resume attached. That's not going to get you anywhere. So you're going to start off with the body that kind of like begins with you addressing the professors. Stay away from things like, hey, hello, what's up? Hey dude, this is not your buddy. This is not your friend. So you need to address them in the proper way. Something that is respectful enough is dear Professor X or hello Professor X. Address them with their last name or first and last name, whatever is, whatever you feel comfortable with. but that is generally the way to go. Now, when it comes to the body, you want to give kind of like a synopsis and an elevator pitch of what your qualifications are and which ones highlight your, skills the best. Now, when I mean this, I also mean that these skills should reflect towards the work that's being done in the lab that you're hoping to get. For example, if I've worked on microfluidics, but the lab that I'm trying to get into is a genetics lab, there's no point in me talking about microfluidics in the body of the email because that professor is not going to care. So you want to be able to kind of like overlap those experiences and give them bullet points, something that'll impress them and kind of like, make them go like, well, yeah, this student looks interesting. Let me go and open this resume. So that's the tone that you want to take with the body of the email. So when you're concluding, you want to be open to discussing any questions that the professor may have. So have a polite tone and be respectful enough to let them know that you're open to a chat or a discussion if they have any other questions, and you really appreciate them taking the time to read or to kind of like go through your email. And ending the email should definitely be on a sincere and respectful note as well. Sincerely, your name and your qualifications. Don't say things like cheers or ciao or anything like that. Like, come on, you need to stay formal. This is a formal email that you're writing. The important thing to note here is you're trying to kind of like convey your entire personality through an email to a professor. Now, there are only so many things that you can do when writing an email, telling them your qualifications, what you're good at, what you're not. But when you actually meet them in person, that's the time where you can actually put on some perfume to kind of make a good impression. So check these perfumes out by Dossier. They have some excellent luxury brand perfumes at very affordable prices, specially made for students, with this really nice aesthetic, cool packaging. The one that is my current favorite right now is the woody sandalwood one, which kind of like comes in this bottle. The other cool thing that I like about these bottles is they have kind of like this magnetic, watch this, like clip-on. So you're never gonna like lose your lids, and they're perfect for like travel sizes and extremely affordable, really nice. So definitely check these out if you're interested. The link's gonna be in the description below. All right, so let me show you guys a couple templates that you can use. I personally created these templates keeping in mind all these points that I just told you guys about. So see what fits your needs the best, tweak them a little here and there, and it's all yours for sending out. Alright, so a couple concluding points before I end this video. The biggest question that students ask is, where do they find professors and how do they find research labs? Now, this is very simple. Based on what you're interested in, you should be able to find professors' labs on their respective websites. They have their own websites in general cases. If they don't, you can usually go through the university's website to see what research that professor is doing. And that's how you find it. All the emails of the professors are available through university websites, and those are the emails that you should be using. LinkedIn is also a way you can approach this, but I would stick to kind of like going the university route. That way you can get a gist of what the work is and try to match your experience with the work that they're doing in the lab. Now, since you have this information available, and there are literally thousands of professors all around the world that are probably doing the research that you're interested in, doesn't mean that you write to each and every professor. Please be a little selective in who you choose, just because you need to understand that these professors get a ton of emails. So when you start doing this on bulk, the quality of the email, or you kind of, it's going to be very mundane and you may kind of lose interest very soon. Which also brings me to the next point, that just because I gave you these templates does not mean that you just copy and paste them and use them. The whole idea is, this is your level 0, which you should be using to build your own template. As your work experience increases, as you graduate from universities or get degrees or certifications, you're going to add those things in your email template to improve on it. Like even now, when I write to certain professors or research institutions, my email is not the same email that I wrote 2 years ago. It's improving. It adds on additional experiences I've gained. some additional things that may look really intriguing to someone who I'm trying to talk to. So that's the goal here. You want to make yourself look good, and this should always be something that you keep improving on, just not a stagnant template that you use. And the last part that I want to say is in your hunt to get into these research labs to gain experience, don't just look at international professors, look in your own country. For example, if you're an Indian student, there are a ton of universities that are looking for motivated students to conduct research. You have the DRDO, NITs, IITs, other private universities that are always open. Even though these universities may not showcase this on their website, if you reach out to professors, they're always willing to accommodate motivated young students for research opportunities. So, don't get demotivated, look everywhere. And I hope that this video helps you find a little direction and helps you in your search for a research opportunity. If you've made it this far, thumbs up the video. Let's beat the algorithm. Leave a comment below, like literally comment anything. Let's get this video to more people. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.